Every single NFL season comes with some expectations. Some get met, some get exceeded, and some, well...
Mahomes takes the field and gets his knee blown out. And they lose. And they're eliminated from playoff contention.
The biggest contract disasters to rookie records evaporating into thin air, here are the 10 biggest disappointments from the 2025 NFL season. Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, we gotta start here. The Chiefs dynasty didn't just hit a speed bump in 2025. No, it just drove off a cliff. For the first time since 2012, Kansas City finished with a losing record at 6-11. For the first time since 2015, they didn't win the AFC West. And their 10-year playoff streak, the second longest in NFL history, came to a screeching halt. Now, here's the thing that gets lost in all of this. Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL and LCL in Week 15 against the Chargers, and yeah, that was pretty devastating. But the team was already 6-8 when it happened. They were already right on the brink of being eliminated from playoff contention. The injury didn't cause the collapse, it just put an exclamation point on it. One that'll likely linger into next year. Before going down, Mahomes was struggling too. The future Hall of Famer was posting career lows across the board. A 62.7 completion percentage, 22 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. The dynasty is officially over. Tua Tagovailoa, QB, Miami Dolphins. Remember when Miami made Tua the highest paid player in franchise history? 4 years, $212 million, $167 million guaranteed. Signed in July of 2024. Yeah, about that. The 2025 season was an absolute disaster in South Beach. Tua led the league in interceptions with 15. Not touchdowns, no, interceptions. He threw 3 picks in Week 6, then did it again in Week 7. And it somehow got worse. By Week 16 against Pittsburgh, the Dolphins had seen enough. They benched their $212 million quarterback for Quinn Ewers, a 7th-round rookie. Ewers started the final 3 games of the season. This, of course, resulted in Mike McDaniel getting fired after his second consecutive losing season. And now Miami is staring at $99.2 million in dead cap if they try to move on from Tua in 2026. Just a mess across the board. The Philadelphia Eagles offense. Sad to say it, but things got ugly in Philly this season. The new offensive coordinator came in and just simplified everything. Stripped away the dynamics that made the 2024 Eagles one of the most frightening offenses in all of football. Suddenly, A.J. Brown wasn't running the routes that got him open. Jalen Hurts wasn't making the same reads. Saquon Barkley was just another running back. The whole thing was just off. Make matters worse, they got bounced in the playoffs by the 49ers of all teams, who were catastrophically injured. Whatever happened in that building in 2025, it clearly wasn't working. And now Philly has to figure out if they can put the pieces back together before Brown forces his way out of town. Dallas Cowboys defense. So, Jerry decided to get rid of the best defensive player in football, and it went about as well as you would expect. Micah Parsons got traded to Green Bay in late August. Dallas got back Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks in 2026 and 2027. Parsons got a new contract, making him the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history at $47 million per year. And, well, he immediately started dominating. He had 12.5 sacks through 14 games and was sitting atop the Defensive Player of the Year odds before going out with an unfortunate injury. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, well, they allowed 511 points, that is 30.1 per game, dead last in the NFL. They gave up 411.7 total yards per game, also dead last. And their third down defense allowed a 53.2 conversion rate, and you guessed it, dead last. Here's the kicker though. Dallas actually had the second best offense in the entire league. Completely wasted because, well, their defense couldn't stop anyone. But Jerry's squad finished 7-9-1, second in the NFC East, which was visibly held back by their porous defense. All the while, Parsons wrecked games in green and gold, while the Dallas D got absolutely torched. Brandon Aiyuk, WR, San Francisco 49ers. This one is just kind of bizarre. Brandon Aiyuk signed a 4-year, $120 million contract in late August of 2024 after a prolonged holdout. 7 games later, he tore his ACL, MCL, and meniscus. Brutal, but hey, those things happen. Players come back from knee injuries all the time. Except, Aiyuk never quite came back. He played 0 games in 2025. Not because he was still injured, not because he was suspended, he just never cleared. He got placed on the reserve/left team list, which made him ineligible for the entire season. 49ers voided around $27 million in 2026 guarantees after he apparently skipped rehab sessions. Kyle Shanahan said it was something I have never seen in 22 years of coaching. GM John Lynch made Aiyuk's future with the team even clearer, saying, "It's safe to say that he's played his last snap with the Niners." Since signing that contract and ending his controversial holdout, San Francisco has paid Brandon Aiyuk $48.15 million. For all that money, they got 25 receptions and 374 yards. That's it. San Francisco 49ers injuries. Speaking of the Niners, Aiyuk wasn't even their biggest injury problem. He was just one piece of a historically catastrophic season. They had 20 players hit the reserve list at various points throughout the year. Nick Bosa tore his ACL in Week 3 against the Cardinals. Fred Warner broke his ankle in Week 6. The icing on the cake really came in the playoffs when George Kittle went down with a season-ending Achilles injury that might linger into next year. It got so bad that the organization actually investigated a conspiracy theory about a nearby electrical substation potentially causing the injuries. CJ Stroud, QB, Houston Texans. The regression is very real. Remember 2023? CJ Stroud came in and looked like a franchise-altering talent. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Absolutely electric. The future of the Texans for the next decade. But this is year 3 now, and the numbers tell a very concerning story. Houston made it to the divisional round and ran into the Patriots. Stroud went 20 for 47 with 212 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. 4. Texans lost 28-16, and their young quarterback looked nothing like the guy who took the league by storm 2 years ago. Question now is whether year 1 was the peak, or if he can somehow find that form again. KJ McCarthy, QB, Minnesota Vikings. Oh man, this one really stings for Vikings fans because every single week they're reminded of what could have been. Minnesota let Sam Darnold walk after going 14-3 with him in 2024. Then they handed the keys to JJ McCarthy, their 2024 first-round pick who missed his entire rookie year with a torn meniscus. This was supposed to be his time. Instead, McCarthy threw 12 interceptions against just 11 touchdowns. The disappointment in JJ and the what if about keeping Darnold is going to haunt this franchise for a long time. Pete Carroll, Las Vegas Raiders. Sometimes even legends can't fix what's truly broken. Pete Carroll came out of retirement at 74 years old, making him the oldest head coach in NFL history to take over a Raiders team that desperately needed direction. 1 year later, he's now gone. Las Vegas finished 3-14, tying for the worst record in the NFL with the Cardinals, Titans, and Jets. And perhaps more importantly, it was the worst record in Raiders franchise history. They lost 10 games in a row before finally snapping the streak in the season finale against a Chiefs team that was so spiritually decimated that they didn't even have a fighting chance. Carroll became the first head coach fired after just 1 season since the Jets did it back in 1994. He was also the 5th Raiders head coach since 2021. That is 5 coaches in 4 years. While symmetrical, probably not the kind of ending that he envisioned for his career. Brian Thomas Jr., WR, Jacksonville Jaguars. Brian Thomas Jr. had a monster rookie season in 2024. Then came year 2, and out of nowhere, everything just seemed to change. His numbers dropped across the board to 48 catches, 707 yards, and just 2 touchdowns. That is a very significant year-over-year decrease. His decline started early. Through the first 2 weeks of the season, he had just 5 catches for 60 yards despite 19 targets, as the drop issues popped up during training camp and carried into actual games. Coach Liam Cohen made it perfectly clear that he's still a believer, and that the young wideout will 100% be a part of the team's future. I mean, after all, sophomore slumps happen to receivers all the time, and the talent is undeniably still there. So, no need to sound the alarm just yet. But after that electric first year, 2025 was definitely not what anyone expected for Thomas. But who do you think was the most severe disappointment? What were we right on? What were we wrong about? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.